Hey guys, it's me, Brandon Colonel. Uh, Excuse me for a second. I've got to make sure this is right. Okay, that might. One sec. There we go. That'll be better. Excuse the video quality. Well, I guess not quality, but location. Uh, I'm currently in a hotel, as I have been for about the past 3 weeks. But I've been wanting to do this knife review for about the past 2 weeks, if not more. Um, I finally got my hands on a new zero tolerance pocket knife, and it is the ZT-0770CF. And as with all ZT pocket knives, the only thing that's really any different than basically just an acronym is the model number 770. ZT obviously zero tolerance. CF just means carbon fiber, which, as you can see, the entire knife, at, at least the handle, is carbon fiber. The blade is a sheep's foot design, and it is made in the LMAX stainless steel. This is honestly, without a doubt, the sharpest knife that I own, which I am just ecstatic to say that the sharpest knife I own is no longer a $20 little piece of crap. No, I guess I can't say piece of crap. This, the Kershaw Asset, is previously the sharpest knife that I owned. This was $20. I would show my knife collection to different people, and then they would ask me what the sharpest knife I own is, and I would be like, this one. And I'd be like, how much did that cost? $20. What about that $220 ZT that you have? Is it just you can't sharpen it properly? Is the steel too hard? No, this just has better edge geometry, and it can get immensely sharper. This is, without a doubt, the sharpest knife that I own before I got this thing. And so, let me get a piece of paper real quick. Now, just before you see it, I have touched up the edge just a little bit, but really all that I did was I polished it up a little bit. So, quite honestly, it was really this sharp right out of the box. It was the sharpest knife I own right out of the box. And now, just so you know, I'm literally just holding it like this. I am not putting any pressure behind this cut. And there you have it. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm literally just simply letting the entire blade rest on my pinky right now. So the knife is just falling straight through. That is how sharp this knife is. It doesn't have incredibly thick blade stock, which, let me actually find another knife that quite a few people have. I'll actually find two. Again, excuse how long this is taking. Gotta make sure that I've got everything, and my parents put away my stuff, just because since we're in a hotel, my mom feels the need to clean everything, and so she touches my stuff and puts it in places where I wouldn't normally look. So, two knives that I got is the Spyderco Tenacious and the Kershaw Skyline. Two knives that quite a few people have. No, not everybody has it, but the other knives that I have, not everybody has them. So I guess I could compare them, but yeah, what good will it do? So, first one that I'll compare it to is the Kershaw Skyline. ZT on top, Kershaw on bottom. You can see they're about the same thickness. One sec. the well, actually, it's a bit of an optical illusion. Uh, ZT right here, Kershaw right here. Um, Now the optical illusion comes into play because it um, even when I was comparing them just like this and looking at them straight on, um, honestly the edges match up, but the blade stock is actually thicker before you get into that swedge, and so this is thicker, but not really by all that much. Now let's go to the tenacious. I'm gonna look at this first. One sec. Okay, this is actually a better size comparison. Okay, ZT here, tenacious here. Okay, to the naked eye, just looking at it here, this actually looks thicker, but honestly, they're about the same thickness before you get to the swedge. Because right here, you can see that the flats here, that's actually about the same thickness. So, as far as the actual thickness, and not on the swedge or anything like that, the tenacious is about the same thickness. So yeah, seeing this, that's a pretty good blade stock. It's not exactly the 0561 here, but it is a pretty good and decent thickness of blade stock. And this thing is just incredibly lightweight. Um, the fact that the blade is not all that thick, uh, the carbon fiber, there's like virtually no liners in here. There's what they call an inset liner. Well, an inset liner lock, I should say. Because on the other side, there is two inset liners in here, but they are so minimal, and they basically just provide strength. The inset liner on this side is basically just simply holding in the assist, the spring assist, the torsion bar. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. The inset liner on here is just simply holding on the torsion bar on this side, and then the inset liner on here is actually giving you the liner lock. So, and the liner lock is really not all that thick, but it is strong. You can get this knife in two different versions. There is the carbon fiber, which is the one that I have. Typically, you'll see this knife for about anywhere from $30 to $40 more expensive, because carbon fiber is definitely more expensive. The other version that you'll see is the aluminum handle version, which, like I said, about $30 to $40 cheaper, depending on where you look. I got this for about $158 on Amazon. Um, so, knife itself. Um, I don't really have the specs on me to really compare it to. Uh, didn't really look all that up, and I don't have a ruler on me, so this will be more of a guesstimate as compared with other blades. Okay, I know that this is a 3.5-inch blade, so this is a little under 3.5 inches. Okay, yeah. ZT here, Spyderco here. Yeah, you can tell that the ZT is just a little bit shorter, so this is close to 3.5 inches. Handle is about dead on. Yeah, the handle sizes are about dead on, so the ZT and the Spyderco are about the same as far as size comparisons. So, yeah. The blade is a little bit smaller though, which going to comparisons again. let's see. You can see that the Spyderco, well, Spyderco here, looking into the monitor actually makes things flip-flopped and reversed. Okay, so you can see the Spyderco here does not utilize all of the handle in order to um, hide that blade. There's pretty good portion here that is not being used, whereas here that blade pretty much goes all the way down to the bottom. So this utilizes a lot more of the handle. So the blade is actually a little bit shorter. But and also the blade really goes like all the way to the top. And because honestly the handles are pretty close, but the Spyderco still comes out on top for bigger. But so, like I said, LMAX stainless steel, carbon fiber handles, and for those of you that may not know, maybe you're just getting into this, this is based off of an incredibly popular design, which really brought ZT into a lot of question with quite a few people. This is based off of a design called the 777, which if you don't know what that is, you can go look that up, but I'll explain it in brief detail right now. The 777 basically was bigger. It had a lot more decorative and ornate carbon fiber. It was CNC'd, very heavily milled out, so even though it was bigger, it was probably just as lightweight in the carbon fiber, because just of how much aggressive milling there was done. But it just made it look really sexy, to be perfectly honest. But they also had it like a sculpted clip, and like just a sculpted custom clip, pretty much. Had like all custom hardware. Um, this pivot right here is actually the same kind of pivot that they had in the 777, but the blade is really what did it for just about everybody. Um, Basically, from right here to about right here, they had herringbone Damascus, which was a nice, like a reddish brown color from all the pictures that I saw. So it was really, really nice. Really wish that I could have gotten my hands on that. Um, the action on this and the action on that, just looking at videos, excuse me, was probably about the same. But like I said, this is assisted, so therefore it'll come out at about the same speed. Now, purchasing this knife is what's kind of throwing a little bit of doubt into my mind about ZT and their quality. I think it's starting to go downhill a little bit because the screws, I've been noticing it with ZT and Kershaw both, because they're owned by the same company. Both of ZT and Kershaw, the screws are not what they used to be. These screws are really going downhill. The craftsmanship on just about everything else is far and above. The blades, they're next to perfect. The function and utility of the blades are again next to perfect. But the screws, they really need to do quality control on their screws. I actually tried to take this knife apart so that way I could actually take out the torsion bar and make this knife basically just a flipper based on the detent. Because I've seen numerous amounts of people actually de-assist this thing, and it still comes out like a rocket. I mean, for crying out loud, let me get another knife that I have. my 0350. I actually de-assisted this knife at one point, since I've actually put this knife back together with the torsion bar, because there's just something about the power that I like about this behind it. But I actually took out the torsion bar and just made it a manual, and honestly, it was even faster. I mean, I think I've told you about it before, but this knife was actually even faster without the torsion bar, and it just made it better. Well, not better, I guess, but it was just as good. The only downside was now being a manual, just like this, sometimes it doesn't come open all the way if you don't get it right. Pretty hard to get it wrong. If you put any force behind it whatsoever, this thing wants to come open. Same thing with the Skyline. If you put any force behind it at all, that thing is going to fly open and just rip out. And I was hearing the same thing about this, but the bottom screws actually have stripped out. I don't know how well you can tell that, but yeah, the bottom screws on both sides have actually stripped out. The other ones I can get out pretty easily, but yeah, they just stripped out and will not go back for anything. Well, not go back. I'm stumbling over my words now. But I can't get them out for anything. So yeah, I can't take this knife apart, and I'll have to send it back into ZT because I want this knife de-assisted, and for one very important reason. I've never really done any kind of work with carbon fiber before, so I don't know just how strong it is, but it's still carbon fiber. No matter how strong it is, it's not steel. It is not any kind of metal, period. And so the stop pin back here, you can see the stop pin right there. That is completely set into the carbon fiber. So with the assisted opening, it's not exactly light. So, well, the assisted opening is not exactly light. So constant hits on that could possibly deform the carbon fiber, and I might have to send it in earlier than I would like to, just to get the carbon fiber fixed. And I might just simply have to buy a new knife completely, because they're probably not going to replace the carbon fiber. And if they do, I'll probably have to pay a price for it. Whereas if I send it in soon, which I'll basically be sending it in the moment that I'm actually back in my own house. But so, the moment that I get in my own house, I'm going to be sending this thing back in along with my 0350, because I want to get the blade replaced on this thing. Still haven't been able to do that yet. Just making sure that I've got the money for it, which now I've got the money for it, but I am not living here. And I won't be living here long enough. I'll probably be living here for about the next 10 days. But yeah, so that's not enough time to send it into ZT, and I want to ensure that I'm actually in my house before I send this thing out. But yeah, so while I'm sending this thing out, I'll send this in with it and say, take it apart or replace it. I don't care what you do, but this needs to be fixed. I need to ensure that I can actually get this thing apart. In fact, I'll actually even put in a letter saying, take it apart yourself. And honestly, when you take it apart yourself, take out the torsion bar and put the torsion bar in a side envelope or something. So that way, all that I really have to do is just monkey around with the centering. Which is something that I heard on another YouTube channel. I don't remember the name of the channel, but they were saying that the washer from the Kershaw Needs Work is actually the proper I want to say the proper washer, to go on the other side of this, because the other side actually has a smaller washer, so that way they can fit the torsion bar. So, yeah, I could just call them in and say replace the washer with the Kershaw needs work, or I could just simply say um, send in another washer for my Kershaw needs work, and it just act like I actually have one. But yeah, so I could just do that. But overall, I am thoroughly impressed with this knife. Um, so that's enough with the complaints. I don't have any other complaints. Well, I do have one. Personally, I don't like deep carry pocket clips. They're good for concealing if you want to conceal a knife, but honestly, I'm not that big on concealing my knives. If I wanted to conceal something, I'm not going to put the pocket clip on there. I'm not going to keep a pocket clip hanging out, so that way, sure, all that you're going to see is black, but that's a little reflective. If you catch the light in just the right way, that's going to catch your eyes. So, if I wanted to conceal this thing, I can guarantee you I'm not going to be using a pocket clip. I'm going to be deep carrying it in the bottom of my pocket somewhere, so that way I have to reach down into my pocket, grab it out, and then I can pull out the knife. Otherwise, I'm not going with a pocket clip if I'm trying to conceal it. It's the same problem that I had with my 0561. Although it works and I can still get it out very easily, I would prefer that this knife did not have a deep carry pocket clip. I really would prefer that I could see about that much of my knife, because it gives you a little bit more of a purchase. Part of the reason why I can get this knife out so quickly is because it is not a deep carry pocket clip. You can still see about that much of the knife hanging out of your pocket. So I prefer that. Um, Same thing with the Tenacious. I can see about that much coming out, and it just makes it so much easier to pull out. That's a little much for me, but it's not that big of a deal. I would prefer it to be maybe somewhere more up here, but that's just nitpicking. This is truly deep carry. That is about all that you see coming out of your pocket. I mean, even this one, this has just a little bit more, but not really all that much. This is about as deep carry as you'll ever see. You don't see anything coming out of the pocket except for that pocket clip. You really have to be looking for it in order to see the knife. But yeah, so that is a really deep carry pocket clip. Back to things that I like. I really like the blade shape. It is a really attractive blade shape, and it has a really nice stone washing on it as well. It's just a really nice stone wash. Um, the design, if you really need to choke up on it, there's I think it's more unintentional, but there's a really nice spot for your thumb up here. So just in case you like need to get in really close and do some fine whittling work, then that spot right here will be really good. The jimping is phenomenal. It's some of the best jimping that I've seen. Let me compare it to the Spyderco. Yeah, the Spyderco is actually a little bit sharper, but and that'll actually cut into your finger a little bit more. This is every bit as grippy, but it's not as sharp, so therefore it's more comfortable. The overall ergonomics of the handle, I really like this cutout right here. It allows your thumb to just rest right in there and just get really comfortable. The finger choil is really good. Um, this spot right here for the other three fingers, it feels like it was made for my hand. If you have bigger hands, I can guarantee you this knife would not work for you, unless you don't mind having a smaller knife and larger hands. Um, so Um, so yeah, if the tenacious works out for you, then be aware that the tenacious is a little bit bigger. Um, so basically, cut out about half of that handle coming out on the bottom, and you can see that it no longer extends past um, the fat of my hand right here, especially when I've got in the most comfortable grip that I can. This is about as comfortable as it gets for me, and a lot of that is gone. So then when I carry this the same way, that's there's a lot coming out of the bottom. So so yeah, this is definitely bigger. So if this is about as small as you'll go, then you might not want to go with the 770, because this is a little bit smaller, but that's kind of what I prefer. Um, like I said, it just phenomenally razor sharp. That is just about as sharp as knives get, and I have yet to see another knife that is sharper than this. I mean, this is just stupid sharp. I mean, honestly, if you hand this to somebody who's not used to handling knives at all, they're probably going to kill themselves with this thing, because this is just stupid sharp, which is in my book a really good thing. But yeah, this is just really phenomenally sharp. Um, which when I actually got my hands on this knife, then I was already starting to look at getting a my very first custom knife, like truly custom knife. Um, I have officially put getting a hinder on the back burner because of just different things that I've heard. Just like different things I've heard. Like honestly, from people who have a hinder, they say that the action on this is actually beating the hinder, because a hinder, you definitely have to put some kind of a wrist flick into it to make sure to get it open. This, you don't have to put any kind of wrist flick at all into it. And also, since when does a hinder do that? So I might just stick with this for a while um, until I can get into a position where I can actually buy a hinder for a little bit cheaper. Because honestly, 500, you're getting into um, really incredibly high-end mid-tech territory, and even some low-end customs. Well, I guess I can't really say low-end customs, because um, if you've ever seen the Jim Skeleton channel, he's actually bought some knives for around 500 that are just phenomenal, and they are complete customs. And he's actually said that he would put those against some of the higher end customs in his collection. But the but so back to this. When I got this, then I immediately started thinking of this one video that I saw on Jim Skeleton's channel of this one maker who actually has pretty decent prices, and he'll actually make a knife based on your design. His name is Alistar Bastian. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And so when I saw this, I was like, I know the shape that I want, and I'm going with that guy. And so when I saw this guy, I looked up his channel, and I shot him an email, and literally the next day he got back to me, and um, and he was saying how if I place my order today, then then I would have my knife in anywhere from 5 to 8 months. That's phenomenal. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. 5 to 8 months is phenomenal for a custom knife. Putting my order in today and getting it in 5 to 6 months, oh, 5 to 8 months, yeah. I almost put my order in then because I'm pretty daggone sure that I'll have enough money by then. So, um, But yeah, so I'm just holding off until I can ensure that I've got a job in Valdosta. But but the second I have a job, then I'm placing my order, and basically I'm going to hold off on spending all money until uh, until I ensure that I've got more than enough money to adequately pay for the knife. So so yeah, there's that. But the design that I went with is the sheep's foot design, which I think I've actually got the drawing in here. Now this is, mind you, this is just my rough sketch. Um, I'll probably have more refinements later as I go on and decide what I can afford. But yeah, this is the design for my knife. I'm wanting carbon fiber here because I am now sold completely on carbon fiber. I love that. And then I want some kind of a bolster here. Haven't completely decided on the bolster that I want, but then the design, I want a sheep's foot, and I actually want the edge to go on completely to the flipper with no ricotta. I do not want any unsharpened portion. You can see an unsharpened portion right here. I don't want that. I want it to go completely sharpened all the way to the base of the flipper. I want a cutout right here, specifically designed to rest your thumb on. I want nice and aggressive jimping here, and I want a very ergonomic handle. And then as far as the back of the knife, I haven't completely decided on whether or not I want a frame lock or some kind of a bolster lock or even a liner lock. Haven't completely decided on that, but all that I know is I am getting a knife from Alistar Bastian, and he was actually kind enough to tell me the price of knives is what they start off at. Apparently, base model knives started around 600. And if you actually go to Jim Skeleton's channel to see the knife that Jim Skeleton bought, then he was saying that was around 750. So really reasonable prices as far as custom work goes. And believe it or not, he's a part-time maker. He does not do this full time. So yeah, the second that I have the understanding that that I have a job in Valdosta, I'm putting in my order like the next day, if not that day. So, and I'm telling him exactly what I want, and so that way, um, that way I can ensure that I'm getting my knife as soon as possible. And so yeah, I am dead set on getting a custom knife now. I mean, by the time when I go back to college, I'll have anywhere from, I want to say, 7 to 8, maybe even $900 when I go back. But I definitely want to make sure that I actually have enough money to pay for this by having a job somewhere. So, so no matter what happens, I actually have money to fall back on. And so the second that I actually have a job, then I'll be guaranteed to have more than enough money to actually pay for it, and I'll be putting my order in. But yeah, so that's what I'm going for. Um, and just a little bit on how much this knife weighs. I was in pajama pants for quite a while, and I almost forgot this knife was in my pocket. This knife is incredibly light. I don't exactly have scales or any kind of measurements, but this knife is just phenomenally light. I mean, typically I like a really substantial sized feeling folder. I like how heavy this feels. It just the fact that it's so heavy just makes it feel strong. So this doesn't exactly feel strong to me because it's so freakishly light. But then again, being all carbon fiber and only having inset liners, I'm not exactly going to be hard using this anyways. But so even if it is incredibly strong and can handle the same tasks that this can, which I highly doubt it, because this is just carbon fiber, then I'm still not going to be doing that. So this is probably a light to medium, excuse me, a light to medium cutting task for me. But yeah, this is just an absolutely phenomenal knife. I completely love it. Like I said, the only things that I would change about this knife is I would put in better screws, first and foremost, that way I can actually get this knife apart. And I would also put in a non-deep carry pocket clip um, on the knife. And that's basically it. Otherwise, this is a phenomenal knife. There wouldn't be any other things that I would change, and that's about it. As always, YouTube, stay safe.